Hi, everyone. Today, John and I wanted to talk about options for saving for children. As many of you know, children can get quite expensive over the years, but there are a lot of different uh, tools and account types that can help you save for education expenses, along with everything else that comes into childcare costs. Uh, First and foremost, the best advice we can give is start early. As soon as you get a social security number when the child comes home, there are ways to start saving and investing on their behalf, and you have compounding in time on your hands. So consider, what is the money for? Who should control it? Are there any tax benefits, and when will it be used? So we're going to go through some different vehicles that we often recommend, and some pros and cons, but also some other tax treatment to be aware of. So John, get us started.
I mean, the first and the easiest one, and of course, some people ask us what's the best one, which again, it kind of just depends on the nuances of what you're trying to do. But the first one is just a regular brokerage account. This is, you and your spouse could open up an investment account, set money aside. I mean, sometimes we have clients say, hey, can you put X name on that account to help me remember it was for this purpose or this child? But yeah, there's no contribution limits. This gives you the most flexibility. The money can be used for anything. All of the tax implications are going to flow onto your own tax return,
Mhm.
whether that's dividends or capital gains. Some people want to know, regarding the FAFSA, we might try to touch on these different accounts. This is treated as a parent of the asset. It can have a lower impact on financial aid eligibility. But yeah, this account is essentially the best if you want flexibility and control.
And if you don't need the money for the child,
It's yours for whatever you want.
the next is a custodial account. So this, often called an UTMA, that's Uniform Transfer to Minors Act, but essentially it's an investment account where the parent is the custodian or the owner until a certain age. The child is the beneficiary. So number one rule is the dollars that go in have to be used for the child's benefit, but it is
You're
not.
you're making a completed gift to the child,
That's right.
basically.
That's right. But it doesn't have to just be used for education. It can be used for camps, cars. If your child gets a full ride and there are no education expenses, it can be used for a house down payment or to start a business. Now, the child does take control of the money at a certain age, and it depends on state. So as early as 18, in Tennessee as late as 25. And then also for financial aid eligibility when they go to college, this is the most punitive. So it's considered a student asset, and it can reduce eligibility by up to 20%. So something to be aware of. And often we will pair it with another type of education account.
Before that, though, this account does have some tax benefits on it. So there's something called the kiddie tax to be aware of, where a certain amount of growth every year is tax-free. Another amount of growth is charged to the tax rate. Ultimately, if it's above, I think it's $2,700
Hmm.
this year, 2026, that growth can get taxed back to the parent. So that kind of disincentivizes people from putting too much money in these types of accounts.
Yeah, the account has to get fairly large before you're paying tax on an annual basis, depending on how it's invested.
I usually say 30,000 or so is kind of a good starting ballpark.
Hmm.
But yeah, we love to start with those types of accounts to pair it with a 529 account so that we can try not to overfund a 529 account. But both the UTMA and the 529s are kind of subject to the annual gift limit of
Hmm.
$19,000. One special provision with a 529 is you can actually lump 5 years of donations into 1 year. And of course, if there are two parents making this, that's 38,000 per year times five. So,
Hmm.
kind of an unlimited amount that you could potentially do. But the beauty with the 529 is that the money grows completely tax free as long as it's used for qualified education expenses.
Hmm.
They recently, a couple of years ago, allowed for you to use up to $10,000 K through 12. It was before that meant for college and higher. And yeah, the parent keeps control of the assets. It doesn't ever go to the beneficiary. You can change beneficiaries on these if it goes to
Hmm.
an immediate family member. It's pretty flexible there.
Or a sibling,
Yes,
if
yes.
one doesn't use up their
Well,
whole
even
balance.
like a cousin or a niece,
Hmm.
there's kind of certain rules on who it can go to. Um, But yeah, one of the negatives of these accounts is if you overfund them, and there was a change there even that potentially the money can roll to a Roth IRA for the
Right.
beneficiary down the road. So that
Yep.
kind of helps if, college didn't cost quite as much as you were anticipating. But
And these are state-run plans. So every state has a different plan. If you're in a state that has state income tax, Tennessee does not, but you can also get a tax deduction against your state taxes for contributions. So a great way to save and compound, and money comes out tax-free for education, and that can include tuition, room and board, laptop,
off-campus housing, even.
off-campus housing that's the equivalent to on-campus rent. Um,
There, these accounts are a little more restrictive on how
yeah,
you can invest them, like the investment lineup. You can only make two changes per year, things like that, kind of go into the consideration.
yeah,
But
you've got to use the funds available in that state plan.
But parent-owned 529s are, usually treated as a parent asset for FAFSA, resulting in lower impact on financial aid eligibility.
Hmm.
If grandparents own them, I believe they
It's
don't have any
excluded.
impact,
Yeah,
so
they
that can
changed
be,
that.
yeah. But these are great if education is your main goal.
Next option. Now, this one requires the child has worked and has earned income in a given year, but a custodial Roth IRA, which we are big fans of. This is a tax-free account without required withdrawals. You don't get a tax benefit on the front end. There's no deduction, but a Roth IRA is a retirement account for the child. You can contribute up to 7,500 in 2026, but the child has to have at least that much earned income. The beauty is they would likely not get much of a tax deduction in an IRA. The Roth is going to grow tax-free. Withdrawals will be tax-free after age 59 and a half. So it is a great way to build wealth over time, tax-free wealth. And it also is not reported on the FAFSA for financial aid eligibility. Retirement accounts are excluded. So if your child is working, has a summer job, we would encourage you to open a Roth, maybe match their contribution, or maybe not, just have it be their money. And over time, that's really going to be a great account type for them.
And a Roth is a cool hybrid too because your contributions, since they're not deductible, they're not required to stay in the account until 59 and a half.
Hmm.
I mean, it's something we discourage people from considering to use, but it can be kind of a hybrid plan here. You can set money aside potentially for the child's retirement,
Hmm.
but yeah, say if you put 25,000 in it and it grew to 40,000, well, that 25 of contributions can actually come out anytime. The 15,000 of growth has to stay there until they're 59 and a half.
Yeah, or else there's tax and penalty.
The next account type are the Trump accounts, kind of a newer invention
Hmm.
here lately. And it is a retirement savings account for children. There are limits on how much can be contributed each year. That's $5,000. Children that are born between January 1 of 2025 and December 31 of 2028, the government will actually put $1,000 in on their behalf. So we love that. That's just some free money. We would encourage everybody to go grab that. But there are yeah, when the child gets 18, they take over control of this account. There are investment and withdrawal restrictions. This counts as an asset of the child, so a little bit more punitive for FAFSA purposes.
Hmm.
I mean, we love thinking about FAFSA. We tend to find that if you do a good job of savings yourself and have a decent income, there's probably not going to be a lot of financial aid anyway.
Yeah,
But this is a great way to get your child an early start for retirement savings.
and no earned income requirement. So versus the Roth, they have to have earned income. This one, it's the $5,000 limit, but you could start them early, and we'd say take the free 1,000 and let it compound. But they're probably better education vehicles between the UTMA and the 529.
And if they do have some earned income, we kind of like the Roth route
Yes,
probably better for them because their tax rate's so low.
that's right.
So,
Last one we'll briefly touch on. We occasionally we see parents that will buy a life insurance policy on their child, a permanent life insurance policy, for instance, when they're born, that can build up in cash value that is tax deferred. There is a death benefit were anything to happen to the child. We really we lean towards investing on the child's behalf rather than putting cash into a life insurance product. But it is another vehicle when it comes to children that a parent could take out. So we hope this was helpful. There's a lot of different options. You can use several of them and kind of paired with the goal for that account. Again, we think time and compounding is your best friend here. So the earlier you start, the better. And we always recommend automating.
But take some time to learn the ins and outs of them. We're happy to talk with you because, again, each account kind of has some pros and cons on what the benefit is, what the money can be used for, how much you can contribute. So it can be a lot to try to work through. So
Yeah, and we would tell a lot of clients it's not necessarily about the dollar amount you start with, it's the habit of getting into automating contributions so that when they do turn 18 and they're off to college, you've got a good chunk to subsidize what is a pretty large cost and has only been growing, outpacing inflation.
we hope you found this information helpful.